So if you've been on Game Jolt for a bit, you might know this SCP FNaF Fangame that's always been on the top of the Game Jolt screen and never released. Well, the game actually got released on November 11th. So if I'm not wrong, this game was in development since 2015, which is mentioned in the description, and that the game was sort of cancelled or rebuilt on 2018 with major changes. And if you didn't know, the game was mostly made by one person. Yeah, one person. You heard me right. The game is obviously based off of SCP. And if you somehow don't know what that is, basically it's a community-made fan fiction of Area 51, which includes a lot of weird stuff like a spaghetti boombox, a plague doctor, a music note that makes you end yourself. So let's just jump right in to night 1. So the night starts off with a animated cutscene that's a lot like Scott Cawthon's introduction to Pizzeria Simulator, and the corporate-like art style and humor is very fitting.
Are you tired of lackluster food and cell conditions? We got you covered. Behold, the Endurance.
So in this game, you're playing as a D class, which are essentially prisoner test subjects, and you're spending 5 nights at the SCP Foundation's office for the promise of being set free.
Let's make our world a happier place. Together.
The game starts off with a forced tutorial night. You get a call and the guy basically tells you the basics of FNaF mechanics like doors, flashlight, mask, and a power lever, and elevator doors. Or how you can save power by turning off the ventilation system, which if you don't turn back on, you'll obviously die. You also have to turn on a computer, which you turn on by typing a passcode, which is on a sticky note on the monitor, which is random every time, which I really like. The tutorial doesn't tell you much about the SCP monsters in the first night, which is fine because they're all inactive. If you also manage to die here, the game just abruptly ends and takes you to a credit screen, which is just great. Anyways, that's it for night 1, so let's just hop on to night 2. So on night 2, there's 4 characters I think that you have to deal with. Now I say I think because the tutorial guy just completely gets deleted from the game from night 2 onwards. So there's really no way to figure out how to deal with them, right? And then, oh my god, what the hell? Oh. Okay, so the characters' explanations are in the extras menu and in the computer in the actual night. You get information about the SCPs after encountering them, which includes stuff like lore and ways they're effective to be dealt with, and hints on how to deal with them. Looking back, I didn't really like this type of explanation at first, but I've come to actually like it. Reading might be boring, especially in text wall games like Post-Shift 2, but in this game, I think it was done pretty well. I'll just mention though, the pacing of the SCPs being introduced is a bit problematic, but I'll go more in depth on that later. So if you played SCP, you'll probably know most of these. One of the SCPs is SCP-173, which is basically Peanut from SCP. You might know him, it's really famous. You're supposed to look at him to stop him from moving. He only moves when you're not looking at him. And if you don't look, he moves at like Mach speed, like he goes fast. In this game, it's basically like that, and you're supposed to look at him on the cameras, and he'll make his way to your office, which if he does, you're supposed to have eye contact on him at all times. If you don't, he'll snap your neck. For my favorite character, SCP-106, he's also pretty famous. He's like a blob monster shadow dude. Basically, the only thing I can remember from him is that he can basically go through walls. So he basically has no clip on. You're supposed to put your mask on when he makes his way to your office with a sound cue and a visual cue of a black hole in the wall. Instead of getting jump scared when he catches you, he'll just show up on your screen. And then right after, he just sends you to the shadow realm for you to die, which is called Pocket Dimension. After that, we have this, I don't know, dog forest SCP thingy. He's called SCP 860-2. And in this game, he basically just works like a Bonnie or Chica from FNaF 1, where he just slowly approaches your door. And when he's at your door, you have to close it, which on the later nights is really fast. Like, you have to be quick.
What the dog?
Next is SCP-096, which I just like to call Shy Guy because he basically doesn't like being looked at, and if you look at him for too long, you die. It's a little bit similar to like Golden Freddy, where he can teleport in your office and you have to avoid looking at him and flip the camera up and down to make him move or reset. Now, if I'm not wrong, those should be all the characters for Night 2. From Night 3 onwards, there isn't any new SCP that you'll get introduced to. So the game basically just stays the same for about 3 nights. Yeah, it could get stale, but I'm pretty sure I first tried every night up until Night 5. Hello? Turn off the lights? Nah. Keep chilling. Oh my god, I put my mask on. Oh, what the? It's like going from Night 4 in FNaF 1 to 420 mode.
Hey, this is a great start to the game.
Okay, maybe not that high, but it's pretty close. So on Night 3, you get introduced to 4 new characters. One of them is SCP-1048, and his tutorial is really vague. You basically have a flashlight and you have to flash your hallway in your office. And if you see the teddy bear, you have to keep your flashlight on him, just like Foxy from FNaF 2. If he gets in your office, he kind of does like a balloon boy, where if your power ever turns off, which it randomly can, he will stop you from turning it back on, which is basically a death sentence in the later nights. Also, he's made out of ears. So the next SCP is SCP-079. This guy is pretty cool. So basically, you just play tic-tac-toe with a computer. And if you fail to do so, he starts messing with your cameras and office and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure. I really like this guy because basically you just play tic-tac-toe while playing FNaF, which is actually a pretty creative combination if you think about it. Especially in the later nights where it's stressing out and you play tic-tac-toe and you have to get good at tic-tac-toe while being able to deal with every other animatronic. It's a cool combination and it's pretty fun. Now, the next one is SCP-049, which is basically the Plague Doctor. Yeah, I don't know why, okay? Plague Doctor's in this game, or in SCPs. Basically, he starts from downstairs and there's 2 elevators that he can get out from. You basically have to close the elevator that he's about to go in, and you can only close one at a time. Here's a secret tip though: if he does make it to your office, it's not the end of the world. All you have to do is turn off the lights when he's in your office. This really isn't the game's fault, but I honestly didn't like the Plague Doctor in just SCP overall. Especially the jump scare. He just walks up and just leans on you. Like if it's your mom checking on your grades after your exams or something. The last SCP, which is basically the best SCP ever made, is SCP-66, which I like to call Spaghetti Boy. He's pretty harmless. Basically, you have a vent on the roof of your office, and if the vent opens, you basically have to click on it to close it. But if he manages to get in your office, he'll just play boombox music, which I don't know, it kind of sounds like a positive more than a negative, but actually sound does matter in this game, and that's basically why it matters, but we don't care. Spaghetti Boy is too important, which even the game agrees after you beat 420 mode. Woo! Because you get a spaghetti gold trophy, which is what we all need in our lives. Anyways, that's all the SCPs in this game, and that's basically everything to it up until Night 5. So let's just skip to Night 5. After beating Night 5, you get a cutscene where you get food. And it was pretty obvious from the beginning that the SCP Foundation isn't trustable. So if the game has a bad ending, there must be a good ending, right? How do you get to that? Well, here's where the game gets interesting. So you remember Larry, right? It's mentioned that he takes you to a portal dimension. Well, if you die by him, there is a chance that he'll teleport you to a new location. Remember, this game's made in Unity, and Unity is a 3D engine. This section is actually the most fun I had in the whole game. It mainly wasn't because of the game, it was because of what happened while I was playing this part on stream. Alright, let's go, guys. You basically have to look for a burnt paper and then find a portal to go through to go back to the office and continue the night, which is kind of cool. After you find 3 paper pieces, you'll get a code and you can put it in your computer. After you put it on your computer, if you go back to the main menu, you'll see that you unlock night 6, which isn't just any normal night. It comes with a twist. So basically you can beat the night the normal way, which if you do, you'll actually get a game over. Which is pretty unsatisfying after beating it because it's not an easy night, obviously. But basically, you're not supposed to survive until 6 AM. You're basically supposed to put the code that you assembled in the previous minigames, and you'll unlock a secret power management section on your computer, which you can manage elevator powers and other stuff like that. You basically have to turn on all the elevators to make your way up to the top of the complex, which, trust me, is way harder than it sounds. But anyways, after you're done, you can leave through the office corridor and you'll get an ending cutscene.
I have stayed in this cursed place for far too long. I know how to deal with these creatures. But all it takes is one slip. One mistake. And I'm gone. I've been risking my life for years. I'm not afraid to risk it. One last time.
Your character probably got shot right after that cutscene, or she just got captured again. Who really cares about that? After this, the game gives you access to some extra content and you guessed it, custom night mode. Which the custom night mode just exactly explains to you how to deal with the characters, which is kind of nice. But anyways, let's just talk about the custom night and all 20 mode, because that night is a beast of its own. You don't have access to the power management in this section because probably it would be too easy. You'll just turn off all the elevators for the 2 main SCPs that use them, and then you'll be able to just chill in your office. So the game doesn't let you do that. And let me just tell you, this night is really hard. You need a lot of focus and really good power management. Like, let me show you how close I got to dying on stream. I think I'm dead. It's gonna be so close. Oh, no way! I was probably 100 milliseconds away from dying here. I was really close, so I got really lucky. Custom Night also has a leaderboard which you get points by, I'm just guessing, dealing with the SCPs and maybe power management and also how far you make it. Anyways, I got 36th place on this. Guess that's one thing to be proud of in life. But what's most important is you get the freaking gold medal spaghetti. And with that, the game's basically over. That's the whole game. Like, this is incredible how one developer basically made this game. So, do I think the game's worth being on top of the game job page? I mean, considering how the game was made with one really passionate person that wanted to make an SCP FNaF game, and it took him about 7 years to develop, I really do think it was worth it in the end. And this game's a great example for how passionate the FNaF Fangame community is. If I had to rate this game, I'd rate this game for about 7 to 8 out of 10, somewhere in between. 7.5 out of 10. The complaints I had are a bit minor. Anyways, with that, we're at the end of the video, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching to the end of the video, if you did, or you skimmed to the end. But also, I just want to mention, if you guys don't know, I opened a Discord server recently. I got a couple of requests for a Discord server, which I already had, just, I don't know, for myself, but after people started asking about it, I decided to make it public. Anyways, other than that, also follow me on Twitch. I'm not streaming on there right now, but I do plan to. So I just want to say thank you so much for commenting, liking, disliking. It really helps me out a lot, and I'm so glad people are enjoying my content. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. So yeah, see ya.